the field in Central Asia, 3 different countries, involved in church planting work among Muslims, unreached Muslim people. And that was exciting work. But before I got into that, I had a degree in business coming out of college and spent almost 10 years working with an international business consulting organization, during which time God began to open my eyes to how much there was still to be done in bringing Jesus to the nations and serving a lot of felt needs that remained out there in the world. And as part of that journey of God opening my eyes, found myself on a number of short-term trips to 5 different continents. And so I've had a real diversity of experiences in Africa, Asia, Europe, North America, South America. And that was fantastic. I'm so thankful for those experiences. They've definitely given me a deep appreciation for what short-term teams can accomplish, and also for what God does in the lives of those who go on those teams. And so I'm excited to be able to share about ways that your teams going out can be more effective using mobiles. While I was involved in Central Asia, living there, really began to have my eyes open to some of these shifts taking place in the world today, with digital media in particular, and mobiles as the platform for that. So that'll be reflected somewhat as we jump through here. So my hope today is you'll walk away with some practical information. We'll have some Q&A time at the end. But first thing I want you to understand is you guys have my screen up there, right? You guys can see that?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Before we jump in, I want to mention a couple quick things. First, Mobile Ministry Forum is what got you all here today. There's our website, mobemin.org, kind of a short code for getting there. If you guys tweet or use other social media channels, feel free to post anything that you're hearing on here that you think is helpful and worth sharing. Hashtag MobeMin is the main tag we use on Twitter, and there's some other hashtags there, MobeVid for things related to photos and videos, MobeSM for social media related topics, MobeSec for security related things, all having to do, of course, with the use of mobiles for ministry. So if you're posting anything, feel free to make use of those. And also feel free to keep in touch with me. I want this to be a dialogue. I'd rather than committing to memory everything that I'm putting out here right now, I'd rather you all walk away with the information that's most helpful for you. I'm happy to be a resource in any way that I can. There's my contact information up there. I apologize, my email address is wrapped, but it's greatcomworkers@gmail.com. Or if you're on Twitter, my Twitter name is @KingdomGuy1. So feel free to make note of that. You'll also have these slides later on, so don't worry about getting all this information copied right now. But first and foremost, when you're sending teams out, understand the significance of the mobile revolution. And I use that term revolution very intentionally because it really has been a revolution, I think, that's been taking place over the last 10 years. It does bring to mind the Arab Spring and many of the geopolitical revolutions that we've seen occur recently that have been spurred on and you might even argue have been enabled by mobile phones. But it goes far beyond this. Over the past 10 years, mobiles have invaded life in every corner of the globe. Rich, poor, young, old, urban, rural, Christian, Muslim, Hindu, atheist, tribal peoples across the globe, everywhere, everyone is using mobile phones. And mobile phone subscriptions now are close to 7 billion, which is just about equal to our world population. That's a pretty staggering figure. And of course, the actual number of mobile users is a little bit less than that. Many people have multiple mobile phone subscriptions, but we're still looking at around 5 billion people in the world now having a mobile device and using it. That's pretty staggering, especially when you consider how many young children there are or quite elderly that may not be candidates for using mobiles. So the penetration of mobiles is far and wide and deep, and they really are everywhere. It is the most ubiquitous device in history. You've probably heard statistics like more people have mobile phones than have toothbrushes. Those are true. Those are true statistics, and it really is staggering. But it's not just that so many people now have mobile phones that's significant. It's how mobile phones are changing people's lives. And here in the U.S., I think we often fail to appreciate how profound this is. For us, mobile phones and more recently smartphones, they're just a further extension in technology for us. We've grown up with so much technology, TVs and computers and the internet and DVD players and ebook readers and cameras and camcorders. All of that technology we've been enjoying for so long. When mobiles came along, it was sort of an added convenience for us. But for much of the world, it's been transformative having this little device that they can throw in their pocket. It's opened up entire new worlds of opportunities for literally billions of people in the world today that are for the first time getting access to the internet, to all kinds of news, educational resources, to entertainment, and so much more. People are connecting through text messaging and social media. So we've had technology that has provided us with most of these functions, but again, for billions of people around the world, mobiles are proving utterly transformative. And most significantly for us, I think, this little device, this mobile phone, is providing the church, I believe, for the very first time in history, the opportunity, at least in our lifetime, of putting the gospel in the hands and before the eyes and ears of virtually every person on the planet. The mobile phone it's truly a game changer, I think, when it comes to ministry. But it's only a game changer if we choose to bring our mobile phones with us when we head out on short-term trips. So point number 2, don't leave home without them. So I'm surprised by the number of people I continue to run into who suggest or might even mandate that short-term teams leave their mobiles behind when they head out on short-term teams. And there are some reasons to consider doing this, and I understand for youth in particular, but also adults, having a mobile device can be a distraction. We see that all day long, don't we? Walking into cafes or wherever we find ourselves, we see mobiles disrupting our lives as much as they're adding to them. But so I understand that they can be a distraction. That's a valid concern. And yes, paying for voice and data connections and roaming overseas can be expensive. And you may have some other concerns as well. But I would argue that the benefits of taking your mobiles with you far outweigh the concerns. And so I hope that some of the following points are going to convince you of that. I want you to walk away today seeing your mobile phone as a strategic ministry tool that your teams can't afford to leave home without. So, Lord willing, I'll be successful in convincing you of that. Number 3, get Jesus. Get Jesus on your mobile phone, that is. If you own a smartphone, you're probably accustomed to using it already for all kinds of things, right? Emails, stock updates, news, Facebook, playing games, maybe watching videos, all kinds of things we're doing on these phones today. But you have Jesus on your mobile phone. One of the most powerful ministry tools of our lifetimes, and I think indeed in the life of the church, has been the Jesus film. I've seen it be instrumental in drawing many to faith in Christ in my own work on the field. And I love what the Jesus film team continues to do. They've now got an app for iOS and Android devices called Jesus Film Media. All one word, Jesus Film Media. So if you don't already have this app on your phone, get it now. And I mean, actually, right now while I'm talking, pull out your phones and go to your app store and download the Jesus Film Media app. Get it on there. It will put in your hands every translation of the Jesus film. So I think it's more than 1,000 languages now that the Jesus film is in. You can view or you can stream the entire film in any one of the languages. But even better, you can also then download those films for offline viewing. This means that when your short-term teams are out, whether you're out in the middle of the jungle or the desert or on an airplane in a cafe, wherever you find yourself, you don't need cellular service and you don't need Wi-Fi to play those videos. You've got them downloaded. Better yet, you can download 2 to 3 minute clips from the Jesus film, showing specific stories such as Jairus' daughter being brought back to life, and others. There's about 60, 65 clips that they've pulled out of the Jesus film that are perfect for showing in the context of a conversation. And that's what I love. Video is such an engaging medium, and being able to show a video. I have never been anywhere when someone has refused to watch a video. I was just in India last fall, and never once did I have anybody refuse. Taxi drivers, people out on the street, in cafes. Whenever I pulled my phone out and had a video and asked anyone if they wanted to see what I had, they instantly wanted to see it. And video is a very engaging media as well. It really draws people in and connects with us emotionally. So it's wonderful for taking conversations deeper. And it's not just the Jesus film that you have access to in this Jesus Film Media app. The app also gives you access to the Magdalena film, which is, I think, many have found more powerful even than the Jesus film. You get My Last Day, which is a really powerful 10-minute anime film, the story of Jesus for children, and a lot more. It sort of depends on what language you want the media in as to what's going to be available, but lots of resources in there, and it's all right there in the convenience of that one app. And they've also even included now a little video showing you how you can use the app to share Jesus with others, whether you're overseas or right here at home. So before your team leaves, everyone who's got an iOS or Android device should have this app installed, and download the relevant videos in the language of the people that you're going to be serving. And then take time to watch those films too, if you're familiar with them. For me, for many of us, it's been a long time maybe since we've seen those, but watch those, be familiar with what's in them so that you're able to watch those with other people and make good use of them. There's lots of other great resources out there too that you can put on your film. Five Fish is an app, over 6,000 stories, stories in over 6,000 languages that Global Recordings Network has put together. Bible.is is another fantastic app. It gives you the audio Bible in countless languages. And again, you can listen to those streaming over a data connection, but you can also then download those resources to have available offline and be able to share with people. So many people then say, well, you know what, I don't have a fancy smartphone. So what do I do? This isn't for me. Well, good news. You can get Jesus on your dumb phone too. If your phone has a color screen, it can probably play videos. Even if it has one of those little flip phones with tiny square screens, those phones play videos in a format called 3GP, and it's fairly simple to get the Jesus film or any other video into a format for that phone. And real briefly, I'll just step through the steps for doing that, and it'll be in the slide, so don't worry about getting all of this written down right now. But all you're going to do is go to the JesusFilmMedia.org website, download the movie or movies that you want to have on your phone, and there's a free program that you can download called Any Video Converter. It's a free program for Windows and Mac, and it's very simple to use, and it will step you through the process of converting a film from a standard MP4 file, which is sort of the standard for video now, into this 3GP format that you can put on feature phones. It sounds kind of technical. It's really quite simple. We can get you resources to help you do that if you want. And then using your film, you're going to copy, or using your computer, you're going to copy that file onto a micro SD card. We're going to talk about micro SD cards in a minute. And you can then insert that little micro SD card into your phone and then play that video. And of course, almost every phone out there in the world today also plays audio files. So you can grab some of those resources from GRN or Bible.is website and have audio files that you can put on your dumb phone as well. So even those dumb phones are really, really smart and great ministry tools. Okay, number 4. I kind of got my notes out of order here, but I'm going to step you through here anyway. Understand Bluetooth. Many of us, when we think of Bluetooth in the United States, especially, for us, Bluetooth is those funny little earpieces that we see in people's ears when they're walking down the street, looking like they're having a conversation with themselves. On the screen, you see a picture of this shepherd boy this is an image that reminds me of a story from a friend of mine working in Morocco. He was up high in the mountains, ran across this shepherd about 12 years old out there with his flocks, and they strike up a conversation. And after a few minutes, this boy says, "Hey, do you want to see a video I made on my phone?" And so my friend says, "Sure," and they watch the video. And then his friend says, "Hey, do you want me to Bluetooth it to you?" And my friend was kind of taken aback. I mean, here's a young boy, no education, I mean, no technology anywhere in sight, out here in the middle of the mountains. This is his life, spending his days out on the hillside with his flocks, and yet here this little boy knows how to create a video, and he knows how to Bluetooth video and transfer it to another phone. This is done all the time, everywhere around the world. And so Bluetooth is great to be aware of. It's a fantastic tool for transferring files from one phone to another. There's lots of videos available on YouTube that will explain how to do this if you don't know. Or when you get overseas and you want to share something with someone, ask them. They probably already know. But at least be aware of Bluetooth and the potential that it offers us for sharing content. Number 5, micro SD cards. Let's see if I can get my notes back in order here. But I'm not sure what I did with that. But micro SD cards, fantastic little tool. These little cards, they're memory cards. Virtually every phone in the world has a slot for a micro SD card, except iPhones. If you've got an iPhone, you're not allowed. But every other phone, smartphone and dumb phone, has a slot for these micro SD cards. They're cheap, they're widely available, and they're fantastic tools for sharing all kinds of content. And due to their small size, they're also very easy to conceal, which can be very helpful in some circumstances. In my experience, people in the developing world are already very accustomed to using such cards. They know exactly where to install them in their phones, and they know how to access the files stored on them. The best card for sharing in the field is a 2 GB card. This size is getting a little bit harder to find in the West, where most cards you're going to find in stores are maybe 8 GB or more, but it's more compatible with lower-end phones. So on a recent trip to India, I stored the following files on a 2 GB card, and when all was said and done, I only used up half of the space on this little 2 GB card. I had the Jesus film, the full movie, the Magdalena film, the Jesus film for children, My Last Day, another film. I had all of those in high-resolution MP4 format and a lower-resolution 3GP format that could be played on those older flip-style phones or candy bar-type phones. So a total of 8 films. And then I had a collection of audio stories as well, and all of that together took up 1 GB of space, half of this little 2 GB card, which cost me about $2.50. It was awesome to be able to walk out with a collection of those and be able to hand those out to people while I was out on the street, having opportunities to talk about Jesus and share the Jesus film with people. A good source for getting these, I mentioned that they're getting harder to find in the U.S. You want to buy them in bulk, and I would really recommend doing this if you're taking teams out, getting resources together. Look on eBay. You can often find them in bulk for $3, maybe even less. But getting them does take a little bit of lead time. So plan in advance to get these cards and gather some content that you can put on them. And don't worry about getting used cards. These things are pretty rugged. So if you find a collection of used cards to buy, that's fine too. So once you get all of these cards, what do you do with them? Well, you want to duplicate them. You want to pull together a collection of resources like I just mentioned, and you want to distribute those resources. So you can wonder why I've got a picture of an Altoid tin can up here. I've discovered that this is a great way of storing these little micro SD cards. Very small tin can, it provides great protection for these micro SD cards. In a mini Altoid can, you can fit about 100 micro SD cards. In the larger standard size Altoid tin cans, you can fit over 200 micro SD cards. It's a great way to travel with these little things, and you have the benefit of having the best smelling micro SD cards in the country. How about that? Anyway, great way of getting this stuff in there. What do you put on them? We just mentioned the Jesus film and the Magdalena film, My Last Day. Those are all great films to download and put on these micro SD cards. And some audio stories that we mentioned from Global Recordings Network and Bible.is. But also reach out, if you're working with local partners, ask them what resources, contextualized resources they already have, and gather those together to put on the micro SD cards as well. If you're teaching English or doing some sort of medical work or some other practical help while you're over there, you may wish to also include some training materials. For example, a brief video on how to purify drinking water or how to properly brush teeth. Just shooting simple videos like that to demonstrate some of these practical skills that you want people to learn, and being able to leave those behind on their mobile phones is really, really powerful. If multiple languages are spoken in the areas where you're going, consider including the chosen resources in multiple languages on those micro SD cards, or create a set of micro SD cards in each language. But if you do that, just make sure you keep them in separate labeled pins, so you're giving out the right cards to the right people. Just another consideration here, it's helpful to include videos in two formats. I mentioned MP4 files for mobiles with higher resolution screens. That's the standard today. But those older phones play videos in a format called 3GP, and so make sure you've got films in both formats, so that the people that you're giving those to will be able to read what you're passing along to them. Okay. All right, number 6, get visual and connect with friends new and old. Okay, the power of visual media is really difficult to overstate. Our brains are wired for visual imagery, and taking advantage of that with mobile phones is really easy. We've already talked about how we can use videos to share about Jesus or reinforce, a skill like purifying water, but visual media can also be used very effectively to build relationships, which I think in turn can then open up more opportunities to share about Jesus. And mobile phones make it so easy because, right, we've got these devices with us everywhere we go, so we can carry around photos and videos with us everywhere as well, ready to show them anytime, anywhere the opportunity arises. So I love to tell people, first, bring along photos and videos from home to show your local friends. It's a great way to build relationships with people. Show them images of your friends and family. Show them an image of your small group and say, hey, these are some of my friends back home. They care about you. They're praying for us right now. They're praying for you, and they care about what's going on in your community. And using those images just to connect with people. I see this all the time. I love going overseas. People on the ground that I meet overseas, they love to show their photos as well. There's something about showing photos of family and friends and our lives, sharing our life stories visually. It really helps create bonds and draws us together. Be prepared to with kind of a library of photos or videos that you want to share. So I'd recommend before you send your teams out, have them create on their phone a folder or a gallery of images that they want to share. It just makes it a lot easier to find that information when you want to share it with someone. If you use an Android phone, there's a new app, the Mission Aviation Fellowship. It's called Estante. Again, this will be in the PowerPoint, so you'll be able to get access to this stuff later. But Estante allows you to create a library of media resources. Makes it very easy to share those. And so take a look in the Google Play Store for Estante. And then a second way to make use of visual media is to make photos and videos during your trip that you can share with your local friends. Take a group selfie, right? There's the Oxford Dictionary Word of the Year last year, selfie. Go figure. I'm not a big fan of selfies, but how wonderful to be able to leave photos behind with the people that you're getting to work together with in these communities that your teams are going to be serving with. And shoot a quick video clip as well. God's going to use those visual reminders in powerful ways, I think, to continue to minister to people after you've gone. Just to remind them that there's somebody that cares about them, to help them remember you. And in suggesting those things, let me share a couple of quick cautions as well. First, try to learn from local partners what is and what is not appropriate to take photos of, and honor this. Cultural differences, taking pictures of certain things is taboo. Try to figure those things out before you go, or as soon as you get there, so you don't offend people. Also, when possible and appropriate, get permission first before taking pictures of people. Especially if you're shooting children, get permission from their parents first, if you can do that. It's a great way to show you honor and respect them. And then when you shoot people, shoot with the aim of dignifying and honoring the people in the community. So we've seen there's a variety of ways that mobiles can be used effectively to minister to those you're serving among, but they're also a great tool for keeping your team connected with those back home that have sent you out or praying for you while you're on your trip. I know one of the gals that came on early for our webinar today mentioned communications and how to be communicating. Teams can communicate with folks back home while they're on their trips. Visual media and social media available on our mobile phone today are a powerful communications duo. Your mobile phone is with you all the time, so let's use it to document what's going on our trip. Snap photos and videos often. You're going to enjoy having those for your own memories, but you're going to enjoy sharing those with others, not only when you get home, but while that trip is happening. As part of your trip preparations, consider choosing one or more hashtags. If you're using social media, you should be, if you're not already. But create a special hashtag and be ready to share that. For example, my home church at Rolling Hills Covenant Church, I think we've got Janet here with us today. They, I think, are sending a team out to Egypt later this year. Use a hashtag like hashtag RHCC 14 Egypt. Okay, something that's going to allow people to easily find posts from the team that's out there that are they know to post it using that hashtag, and it makes people back home, gives them an easy way to find those resources. Alternatively, you can also create a dedicated social media channel for people to follow as well. But wherever you choose to share those updates, however you choose to do it, Instagram, Twitter, Vine, Facebook, YouTube, we've got so many opportunities now. Be sure to let family, friends, and your church know how you're going to be sharing so they can easily follow along. Facebook's an obvious place to share those updates. Instagram's another great choice. It's probably one of the most popular networks right now. It's purely visual. It allows you to create simple videos up to 15 seconds long. You can also share photos. So consider shooting a 15-second video update each day. You can do longer videos if you want and share those on YouTube or Vimeo, of a service called Vimeo. But shoot it just a quick video update and post that. You know, how wonderful is it that your church or Sunday school class or small group at the weekend services or even during the week, they can pull up a quick video update to show during those services and just feel that real sense of connection with you while you're on those trips. Better yet, if you've got a good internet connection while you're down there, whether it's Wi-Fi or cellular, consider doing a live broadcast. You can use tools like FaceTime, which is for iOS devices, or Google Hangouts, which is for both iOS and Android. They allow you to enjoy live two-way communication, video and audio. There's another free service you can use called Livestream. It allows you to broadcast using your mobile phone. You can broadcast the live audio and video feed to anyone, anywhere in the world who's got access to the internet. So we've got these great tools now that allow us to communicate. And I'll mention a couple of other things too. WhatsApp is a fantastic messaging app to keep folks posted. Great way to share prayer requests. If you're about to go, there's something significant going on with the team, have them just post a quick update and say, hey, we're about to go out, would you pray for us? We're about to start this program or work with these people. So lots of great tools available now for us to stay connected with people back home. And then seventh and finally, mobiles and security. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this. There are a number of considerations when it comes to mobile devices, and I'm going to kind of push through this quickly, but I want to at least make you aware of some of these issues. First, Your mobile contains sensitive data about you, right? We all know that. It's got pictures about us, pictures of us, our families. May have some financial information, maybe other very sensitive information that obviously we would not want to be compromised. But your mobile phone also contains sensitive information about other people as well. And be aware of that. Contacts, people being linked together because of contacts on your phone. Now, this may not be an issue in every country that you go to or every area, but it is in many places. Many countries can and do intercept data, and they eavesdrop on what's going on over mobile phones and over mobile networks. Very easy to do. Voice, text, data, all of that is very easily intercepted. Many countries regularly practice this. Of course, we're familiar with this. A lot of talk about this recently in the news here in the U.S. with Snowden and the NSA. This is going on all over the world, and we need to be aware that this is happening. Places like Iran, they scan every incoming text message or every outgoing text message for keywords, and then if those keywords are in there, that message gets blocked. Media also can endanger some folks as well. People getting caught with certain types of religious content on their phone, that can prove dangerous to them or to their families. So just be aware that those security issues exist in some places. Talk with those on the ground that you're going to be serving among, and try to be aware of what those issues are. And just a few ways to address some of those issues. First, if you don't have it on your phone already, enable password protection. Very, very basic. Okay, if your phone is lost or stolen, you don't want somebody to be able to just pick it up and push a button and boom, have access to all of the information stored on your phone. So if you don't have it on there, please enable password protection for your own good and for the good of others. And then second, be wise using any kind of data services. Again, primarily in restricted access countries that might be hostile to the gospel, but just be aware that that anything going over a data connection is potentially out in the open for prying eyes to get a hold of. Third, disable location services. Because of our phones, phones can be tracked in two ways. We've got GPS chips in our phones, but turning off that GPS signal doesn't take care of everything. Every time you pass by a cell phone tower, actually constantly your phone is sending out a message trying to connect it to whatever tower is nearby, and through that you can be tracked constantly, and they can put that information back together later on to pinpoint people's locations. So it's good to disable location services. Geotagging is a particular service used by your camera apps that store GPS data, so they can actually pinpoint where a photo was taken. Good idea to just disable geotagging when you're out on the field. Again, it's primarily if you're in sensitive areas, but it's a good practice to be in nonetheless. Fourth, share resources over micro SD cards and Bluetooth. I mentioned these earlier. These kind of fly under the radar of that eavesdropping and data intercept that I mentioned. They're tend to be very safe ways of sharing media files and other content that you may want to pass along to people. And then fifth, consider encrypting your phone. Android phones allow you to encrypt the micro SD card. It's just in your settings. You go to click on settings and then security, and you have an option in there to encrypt your entire micro SD card. If someone were to take that micro SD card out of your phone, it would be completely useless to them. They could reformat it and use it, as a blank micro SD card, but they would not be able to get access to your content. There are also apps that allow you to encrypt files or folders on your phone. So if you've got sensitive documents, encrypt those so that if your phone is compromised in any way, people can't get access to those. And then just a couple of last things. Add or update emergency contact information. Smartphones and a lot of dumb phones as well allow you to add some emergency contact information if you were to be hurt, if you were to lose your phone and someone wanted to get it back to you. Give them a way to do that. Update that information as needed when you send your teams out so that you have a local contact in there. Second, keep secure copies of your passport, your visa, credit card information. You don't want to lose that stuff when you're traveling, but if you do, you want to have a backup copy of it. It just makes life a whole lot easier, and I've had to do this myself, unfortunately. But keep a copy of all those. Scan that information. Keep it on your phone. Again, encrypt the file or folder that it's in if you can, so it's kept safe. But have those copies with you. And then third, kind of following up on that first point up there, add a physical label on your phone that has contact details on it. You know, especially smartphones, batteries don't last that long. And if you're to lose that phone and someone wanted to get it back to you, very helpful just to have your name and maybe an email address or local contact phone number on there that somebody can call and get that phone back to you. Okay, and in closing, I just want to mention a couple of resources. Mobileministryforum.org, you're probably already aware of. That's the website for the Mobile Ministry Forum. Lots of great resources on there. There's a great book that's been put out, a little booklet. It's free. You can search, just Google it. It's called Mobile Ministry Made Easy. And it's a great, easy to follow guide. It talks about some of these same things and some more. It goes into some more details. Again, totally free. And if get this little guide if you are leading short-term teams, and make sure you guys browse through that and be aware of what you can do with mobile phones. We've got a Mobile Ministry 101 course coming out that's going to talk especially through getting some of these resources onto your phone and being able to share them with people. It's going to walk you step by step through the process of doing that. That's going to be out the end of June, early July. We hope to have that available in current format. That will be a free resource from the Mobile Ministry Forum. And then a couple, on one of the website, mobileadvance.org is another great resource if you want to learn more about all of this. And then finally, the Mobile Ministry Forum puts on a 6-week mobile ministry course. If you want to understand a bit more about the opportunities that mobile presents with, then investigate that course. It's offered about 4 times a year. And very low cost, but great tool for better understanding all the great things we can do to make use of these mobile phones. So that's it for me, Benjamin. And if we have time, I'd love to take any questions.
Chat box that is available to those of you who are joining online, and we will have a few questions, I think, in there. There was a comment made about a solar-powered charging device that was brought up. Clyde made the comment that something that we have faced or people face is charging these devices on the field. And, Brian was just making the comment as well. And so there's in the chat box, there's some discussion, some resources there, a solar-powered charging pack,
Yeah.
which we will include in the information as well in the follow-up.
Yeah, I'll tell you, one tool that I never leave home without is one of these little backup battery chargers. They're very cheap now. Amazon's got some. They vary wildly in price, but I would get at least a 5,000 mega amp hour battery. Dave's got a message on there about that. Those are great for just making sure you've got backup use for your phone, and they're very cheap now. Amazon, look for one by Nutrient or Anker, ANKER. Great tool. Bring this with you. Goal Zero makes some solar power chargers. Very small panels that you can take with you if you're going to be in a very remote area where you won't be able to plug in your phone. I see someone else posted one there on Newegg as well. So lots of great resources there. I've got a list of these. If anybody wants to write me, I'd be happy to pass those on.
Okay, another question that was put onto the chat was, isn't Facebook and other social media sites blocked in some countries? And someone did reply to that. Frank replied to that and said, I'm going to find his answer here. Some countries block Facebook, and here in Uganda, the Ministry of ICT wants to block it to regulate it. So that's a very good point. Sometimes you don't have the option to use social media in a certain site because the country does block it.
Yeah. A couple of quick comments on that. First, your best bet is to check with those on the ground about what may or may not be blocked. Facebook has been very aggressive in capturing the market in the developing world. They have set up agreements with a lot of telecom companies in those countries, and in many places, if you get a local SIM card for your phone, you need to make sure your phone's unlocked before you go. Most service providers here in the U.S. will do that for you for free, and you can get a local SIM card when you get into the country. And in many cases, Facebook is free, entirely free. So posting and receiving updates for Facebook is free, or at least very low charge. I just got back from Thailand last month. I think it was $5 for a SIM card, or $10 for a SIM card. $5 got you unlimited Facebook usage for a month, including photos and videos, I think. So that's just, Facebook has made those agreements with telecom companies. So that makes it a very easy tool to share. Twitter is also very popular in most countries. But again, some countries may block it. And so just check to see what's available with those on the ground. And we're going to have more specific information. It's constantly changing. Turkey sometimes blocks Twitter. They recently blocked it with an election. They didn't want people speaking negatively about certain people in the election, so they blocked it. And there's a huge outcry against the government, and they had to open Twitter back up again. So it's kind of a fluid thing there in terms of it being allowed or not allowed.
Hey, Brad, Clyde, so if you encode or encrypt your micro SD card, does that mean you can't give it freely, like to somebody?
Yes, yeah. So the encryption is really just for your own content that you want to safeguard. Once you encrypt that card, it is absolutely useless. You can't pass that on to anybody else. It will not work on any other phone unless they want to reformat that card and use it as a blank card. So you can't. There's not an easy way to encrypt micro SD cards so that if you wanted to hand out encrypted micro SD cards and people needed a password, for example, to access the resources that were stored on there, that's a bit tougher to do. So usually when you're handing those out, the contents on them are going to be freely visible. So there's not a good solution there for distributing encrypted cards. What you could do is use those micro SD cards you could, for example, use them just for storage and create an encrypted zip file, for example, that could be used in a computer or some apps that might be able to open that zip file using that password. But that's not very easy to use, and it's going to be very device specific. So for general distribution, I would not encrypt those cards in any way.
Okay, so I want to encrypt my personal information so I can have my card for me. That I encrypt, but the ones that I bring to distribute, I don't encrypt. Yes?
Correct.
I got it. Hey, Benjamin, Odo has had his hand raised here, so I'm going to unmute him and see if he has a question.
Yeah, well, my question was about security, but most of that was answered in the last point there. So, but I wonder how secure Facebook and these other media are for communication. You're always putting people at risk, the host, receiver, and so forth in these what we call closed countries. But
that's correct.
So what advice do you have for that?
Well, again, be aware. Connect with local partners that know the security situation on the ground where you're going. A lot of countries, if you're working in maybe South America and some other countries with many parts of Africa, you're not going to run into some of the security issues. If you're working particularly in Muslim countries, you're going to run into that, and you need to be very aware of that. Facebook is incredibly insecure. Very easy for governments to get access to that, for them to create connections between people through Facebook.
Yeah.
And so you do need to be very sensitive to that. If you're doing work in a Muslim country, I would not post any kind of ministry related information on Facebook at all. Or I would use a different tool, and I would be vague if you want to use. So in general, I just wouldn't use social media as a tool for posting updates for folks back home in those types of countries. Now, if you can do it sensitively, I know people in the Arab Gulf actually use WhatsApp, very popular instant messaging tool there. A lot of social messaging type features built into WhatsApp. They just use it very sensitively. They're not overt in how they work things, but they use it to share prayer requests and things like that. And so you can do it if you can educate people on how to use it well and use it wisely. But be cautious in those countries.
Yeah. Okay. And we are concerned about even communication among the short-term workers. They like to communicate back home again and all of this. And
that's right.
But I guess you answered my question.
Yeah. Well, and there are some text messaging apps.
Secure. We have to watch that.
It's not. There are some text messaging apps that are secure. They encrypt the messages going back and forth. If text messaging is an option, again, that's going to be only on smartphones, but that is a possibility. I don't have my list of apps handy right now to recommend a specific one, but there are apps like that out there that can encrypt messages going back and forth for communication. That would be pretty tough for governments to track. They had a really, really strong reason for wanting to devote the resources to doing that. They could, but chances are they're not going to want to.
Okay, thank you very much. It was very helpful, and I'll leave the conference right now to go to some other appointment. Okay, thanks so much.
Thank you, Otto. And
Benjamin, did you see Frank's question? Yeah, go ahead, Brad.
Yeah. So Frank, the Mobile Ministry 101 course, this is kind of a self-study course, or great to do with a group, or we actually wrote it for teams to be able to go through together. And yes, that will be available. It's going to be a print-based course. It's kind of a story that you walk through, and it steps you through very specific skills on how to do Bluetooth and how to create micro SD cards, get content onto your phone, get them into 3GP format for those older phones. And so that will be available, and we'll get word out. If you're not on the Mobile Ministry Forum mailing list, sign up. Clyde, I think maybe you can comment on how people get signed up for that. Make sure they're getting the updates. But it'll be announced once it's available.
Yeah, I'll just put the link in here. You can go to this page and then just sign up, and you'll make sure that you're on the communication update list. Benjamin, over to you, bro.
Looks like we have time for maybe just a few more questions, but I don't think there are any more. So if you have been waiting or something's popped up, I can give you just another one more chance to ask that.
And you will have to unmute yourself if you have a question, or type it into the chat box.
Let me mention too, while if give people a chance to think here too, if they have any last questions, this PowerPoint, it's not a PowerPoint, but this presentation will be posted online, and it's got all the detailed notes in there, and so you'll have access to the details of everything that I've shared today.
Hey, Brad, can you send me that today? Because I'm going to create the follow-up post that has this and the links and all of that. So can you, I don't know, just let me know how to do that.
Yeah, I'll get that to you.
We did have another question pop up from Alan.
Yeah, Alan, can you password protect an SD card? Great question. There's again not an easy way to password protect a micro SD card that I'm aware of. It's pretty difficult, especially if you want to make those widely available. And your only real option would be if you were going to give it to a specific person, and you knew what kind of device they had or what kind of tools they had access to, you could you could do that. Can you create a password protected PDF file or a video? Again, not real easily. You can. You could give them a PDF file that's got a password on there, and if they've got an app that can read password protected PDF files, then they would be able to access that if they had the file, or excuse me, if they had the password. But it would really be dependent on them having the right app to be able to do that. So again, we're still kind of in an environment where security is kind of a tough issue. There are some apps that you can get that allow you to encrypt files and folders, and you can pass content on to people and have them put them into a folder that is encrypted on their own phone. That's one option. Yeah, Jay's commenting there. You can have them as long as people both have the same app. Jay, do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, basically it was the same as what you were saying. If you want to have something that's encrypted, both phones need to have the same app that did the encryption usually, or did the password protecting. So you just need to make sure that everybody receiving your files has that app.
Right. And Jay, do you want to comment? You may not want to right now, but Estante having the front end that might provide a measure of security.
Well, we're not really ready for that to be discussed a whole lot. I guess I can say some high-level things here. If you haven't checked out Estante, you can find it both on the MMF website and on the Google Play Store. Just search for the word Estante, and I've typed it into the chat here. It is a simple digital library tool, but for sensitive locations, we have tried out a kind of a misdirection sort of technique where the app doesn't look like Estante as it normally is, and when you tap on the correct icon, it will bring up a password lock type of front page, and if you type in the correct code, it will open up to Estante. We haven't worked with that in quite a long time, mostly because the folks who trialed it for us, who were in a very restricted location, said that it was too much of a security issue in and of itself, because having a password protected app that had lots of or a large file size to it, because they had a library in it that had about 1 gigabyte worth of content, that was a huge red flag. Why does this application have a gigabyte of storage and it looks like a calculator? So it was more the cognitive. You look at the app and it doesn't look like it should have a gigabyte worth of storage used. So it raised suspicions.
I'm going to jump in. We've got like 45 seconds here. Benjamin, can you land the plane for us, bro? And you are mute.
Can I throw in one last thing, Clyde?
All right.
I was going to jump in and say the same thing. So thank you so much for doing that. Guys, we appreciate all of you taking the time today to join us, to hear the presentation. We would love to continue the conversation. So if you do have questions or comments, please feel free to send those in. This whole presentation, the recording, the PowerPoint, everything will be up on the Mobile Ministry Forum website here in the next day or two. And for the participants in this meeting, we'll be sending out a link with that information so that you can have it. But if you don't get the email sooner than you want to share this, then check the website and we'll have it up there in the next day or two. So let me close in prayer, and thanks, Lord, for this time.
Our next one is when?
Our next one is in June.
June the 17th. Our tentative title is, we'll have the author and professor from Pepperdine University, Craig Detweiler speak on his book, I Gods, how social media shapes our spiritual, I can't remember, but it'll be good.
Yes, it will be good. So please just throw that on your calendar. We'll be sending out an update about that as well. June 17th. Let's close in prayer, and then you can all be about your day. Father, thank you for the opportunity that we all have to come and spend some time together in this virtual community to hear from Brian on the important aspects of mobile ministry with potential of short-term applications. Father, thank you for the technology that we have, for the opportunities that are made available through it. Please help us to be wise and understanding as we apply the technology and the correct uses. Help us to be shrewd and innocent. Father, we pray for protection. We pray for boldness. We pray for your glory to be made known and for you to be exhorted and honored through everything that we do. We pray that your presence would be with us today as we go about our day and all that we do in it. We ask these things in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you all. Have a wonderful day, and we look forward